I am Larry Krueger, an Alexian brother. My dad was in the Air Force. For about 28 years, we did a lot of moving around. I was part of a family of 6 children. Being born in Arizona, from there we moved to Bermuda, and then back to the States for a couple of years, and then to Japan for about a year, and then to Okinawa for 5 years.
After Larry graduated from high school and moved back to Tucson, he began a relationship with a person who would greatly shape his life, his grandmother.
My grandmother and I decided to move into an apartment in Houston, which was really supposed to be 6 months to a year. But because we got along so well and had such a wonderful relationship, that 6 months to a year turned into 6 years. My grandmother was 68 years old and I was 24. I think it worked out so well for both of us because we were kindred spirits, and we seemed to just kind of bond. My grandmother said one thing to me: if we're going to share an apartment together, you must go back to church. And I said, fine, I will go back to church. We started taking scripture study together. We also got involved in the charismatic movement. It was a wonderful time together. My grandmother was a great influence on my decision to work with older adults. She had many surgeries while I was with her, cataracts and other things. And so I really got to know what an older person kind of goes through. I'm currently ministering at Alexian Village of Tennessee. It's a continuing care retirement community that has all levels of care. And my title down here is the Director of Community Services, which means I'm involved a lot with the internal community of independent living, but also the nursing home and assisted living. So I spend a lot of time with residents, helping them to transition from one part of life to the next, especially if a spouse dies. One thing I find in talking with older adults here is that they just want somebody to talk to. I mean, if you take the time to listen to them, there's a great deal of wisdom to learn from them. The 3 main departments that I oversee are the beauty shop, village activities, and then the dining services. Hey, good afternoon. The dining services is very much of a challenge because you're always concerned about the food and are people going to be happy with the food. The beauty shop is even more interesting. Yes. And they tell me you're the only male we allowed to come to the beauty shop. There was one lady that shared a story with me. She said, every time I come in, there you are. My husband has never seen me get my hair fixed or washed. And I told her once before, I said, you know, when you get your hair washed, it looks like a drowned rat. She said, my husband would never get away for telling me that. So it really is, it's very much a lot of fun. But they do look like drowned rats. The one gift I really get from older adults is the wisdom that they have to share. If you're willing to take the time to sit and listen to them and build their confidence, they will share a tremendous amount of stories that they've gone through with their families and their own personal lives. My grandmother died in our nursing home here after I'd been living here, and I was with her when she died. Doing that just really impacts a person's life, and it's one of the reasons I chose to do what I do today, because I can be there with them and walk with them as they get towards the end of life. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. But I honestly believe when it gets towards death, the person they look for is one of the Alexian Brothers, because we do that ministry of death. We've always done that. Throughout the Black Plague, through all of history, we've been with people when they died. And that's what we're good at. That's what we've been trained to do. There's so much to be learned through the death process. And to be in a room when somebody dies is just a blessing and a half, because the peace that fills that room is really something. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil.